What's up, wave makers? It's me, Mommy Suna. Hey, sorry this video is a little bit late in terms of, I guess, my regular sort of upload schedule. I was on vacation for like 4 or 5 days, I don't remember. So now we're getting back into the swing of things and picking up where we left off. Actually, honestly, when I went on vacation, the amount of things that people sent me, I could make so much content if I only had the time. But I don't. I know that this is very important, so this is what I decided to come back to. We last left off having started the Platinums and Above only Young Living New Year kickoff call. We're just gonna start where we left off because from what I've watched, like Clown Town, for example, covered kind of the whole thing in its entirety in like little bits and pieces, and there are some things that like I haven't watched yet. Everything we're about to watch today I haven't watched yet. You thought part 1 was wild and wacko, then buckle in because part 2 is gonna get even better. So yeah, we're gonna do some makeup while we watch. I have this all sped up a little bit, and of course, like I said last time, I'll do this again. If it's boring, I'll cut it out, but I'll leave all the context. All the important stuff is gonna be left in there, but you know, I'm not gonna make you guys sit through all the boring stuff. Bye, Griff. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So you're still just gonna get mostly the good stuff from me, so don't worry. So before I press play here, make sure you leave a like on this video. Hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Leave comments and all that because that helps with engagement. And of course, if you haven't watched part 1 to this, please go back and watch it. I'll have it linked down below. It's probably not necessary that you watch it because if there's context here that was in the last video but not in this one, like I'll go ahead and make sure that the context is still there. Okay, without further ado, let's press play.
Okay.
We have a new speaker.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to put this down. I get pumping up here, and you know when you have that moment and you're like, I can't talk. So I wanted my next move to feel really authentic to me. And the minute I met Lindy, I knew that this is where I wanted to be. And I really want you to know how genuinely excited I am to be part of the Young Living family. And the people are so nice here. And I can't wait to meet each and every one of you because I have heard the best thing about our brand partners. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mary, for giving me this opportunity. My passion really is with helping women specifically, but men, I want to help you too, feel really beautiful and confident from the inside out. But who makes a vision board to start out the year? All right. I knew you were my people. I knew you were my people. And I chose this image specifically because I'm old school. I know it's not best for Mother Earth, and I help do my part in other ways. But I am a tangible person. I love those magazines, and I get out my scissors and my glue sticks, and I create that vision for the year. 2019, I chose the word shine. It was a year filled with so much light, and it was just the best. So in keeping with that tradition, you know, December 2019, I sit down, I reflect on the year, and think about what I want to achieve in 2020. And guess what word I chose? I contemplated it for a long time. I chose the word stretch. Do you know what I was going to do? I was going to stretch my mind. I was going to read more books than I ever read before. And I was going to stretch my heart. I was going to be more intentional. I was going to be an intentional mother, wife, sister, and daughter, and a friend. I was going to work on my relationships. And guess what? I was done killing myself with cardio. I was going to learn power yoga.
Okay, listen, she's saying like was, as if like this was supposed to happen, but it didn't. And listen, I get it, okay? COVID effed us all up. Everything we all thought we had planned for 2020 was shot in the butt. Couldn't happen, wouldn't happen. May God have mercy on our souls. But like everything she just listed there, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you still could have done all those things. Like she talks about it like, I was gonna do all these things, but then a wrench got thrown into my plans. It's like you couldn't start doing yoga and be an intentional parent at home. You're on lockdown, so suddenly you can't do all those things. All those things that she mentioned are things that I'm like, you probably would thrive if you did them on your own at home instead of out and about around other people. Like, work on yourself, chick. Anyway, I don't want to diminish the fact that 2020 was just probably the worst year ever. Maybe I shouldn't have paused her so early. Let's see what else she says she's gonna do.
What's a beautiful story, right? Do you see how that all came together? Well, guess what? I was stretched. And each and every one of you were stretched too, beyond our imagination. Our communities were stretched, our healthcare is stretched, our food and supply chain stretched, and our patients and our relationships. Now, this is meant to be a lighthearted story and to make a point, but I choose that word because words are powerful. And they're so powerful, in fact, every year I sit down to do this exercise, my husband says, Monica, just choose your words wisely. So we wanted to have a word and a theme to rally behind, right? When you need a lot of people rowing in the same direction and to get on board, it's easiest to do by having that theme. We look at some of the consumer behavior and attitudes that are happening right now. So right now, I'm sure you have all read them, but there are many books that talk about making the small changes in everyday habits, that 1% better each day. It leads to what? It leads to that compound effect, right? So just little tweaks. Gone are the days that like on January 1st, you're throwing out everything in your kitchen and you're hitting it hard. No, we know that we make the best improvements and the best changes in our lives by just adding or deleting something for the biggest impact.
So what she's saying is that January 1st isn't the time for people to hit the reset button on their lives. I'm pretty sure that still happens and people still do it every year. That's why the gyms all make all their freaking money at the beginning of the year. Health and wellness companies are always booming in January, and then by the end of the year they've fallen off, and just waiting for that January boom over and over again. I don't think it's gone are the days, ma'am. I'm pretty sure they're still here and they're still alive and kicking.
I wanted to make sure that we shared this quote because I think it's so powerful. And it's going to help us align over 2023. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. Now, Darren Hardy, he is the author of The Compound Effect, and this quote is from him. And I'm going to try to make it very concise how I wrap this up. But what he says is that he's not smarter than all of us and everybody else. But what he is the most consistent. And he found that if he did the same thing every day, that it led to this bigger compound effect. And so we're going to tie this in to our theme of the year, which is reset your routine. Healthy habits are found in our daily choices. So what do you think? You're probably thinking, okay, so Monica, great. What does this mean to our business? What does it mean to our products? So before I tell you about the product marketing roadmap, I want to just focus on this word reset. So
I think we all know what that means.
We all spend a lot of time talking about resetting, right? We had to reset our expectations, and we definitely had to reset our priorities coming out of the last couple of years. And why I love this word is because during this time of year specifically, it gives us a lot of hope, right? It's like you get to start over anytime you want. Now, that is the colloquial definition, or the traditional definition is to set again or anew. But at Young Living, we're going to also take the approach with helping to define so that we can carry this story throughout the entire year. And so we are defining it by you reset your routine by restoring the positive we put in and around our bodies, and you're reducing what's harmful. So we can do it in two ways. You restore the positive or reduce the harmful. So you can see on the left column, we have restore. So these are the positives that we'll want to add to our routines, those tiny little shifts in behavior or shifts in what you're putting in your bodies to make that bigger change. And then reduce is what you can take away. So sugars, white flour, harmful skincare, toxic cleaners.
There's a reason why she chose all those very specific things on this little chart here, because Young Living has products to replace all of these things. Shocking, I know. I mean, I can think of a lot of other things that you should probably reduce, but these are all things that you can reduce with Young Living. She's trying to be like, restoring positive things and reducing the bad things. Yeah, no fucking shit. That's kind of a normal, I guess, desire of people. Sugar. I'm pretty sure most of their, like, consumable products, I guess, like, they try to say there's no added sugar in it or whatever. And, like, they can't say for sure that there's, like, no sugar in any of this stuff because, like, Ningxia Red, for example, it's fruit juice. Like, of course there's fucking sugar in it. They would want you to be like, no, like, processed sugar. Replace your regular dietary supplements with ours because we don't add sugar to it. Yeah, and it probably tastes like shit. White flour, they have einkorn. If you've watched my last few videos about Young Living, they've really buckled down on the einkorn thing, which is basically just another kind of grain, which isn't specific to Young Living, by the way. You can buy it from a lot of other places. It's just not like a common grain, really. I had never heard of it before Young Living, but after doing some research, I learned that you can buy it in plenty of places, and go figure, Young Living's is quite expensive. Shocking, I know. They've pretty much convinced all of their reps that when they're baking, they need to use their einkorn flour instead of white flour or wheat. Any flour, okay? There's plenty of flours you can buy at the store that, like, aren't bleached white flour, but no, it has to be einkorn. And then harmful skincare, of course, Young Living has their own skincare line. Young Living throws essential oils into everything. They put essential oils on their skin sometimes. Once a month, we watch here on this channel as a live stream together, that oil show, which is basically like The View, except with oily mamas on the panel, and it's really cringy, and we all just watch it together. It's a lot of fun. All those replays are up if you want to watch them, but I'm pretty sure one of the episodes we watched had to do with the skin. So yeah, they have lots of products that are meant to be used on or for your skin, you know, supplements and stuff also. So there's that. Toxic cleaners, thieves. Hello. They want you to adopt the entire Thieves line. Throw out your toothpaste, throw out your laundry detergent, throw out your dish soap, throw out your hand soap, throw out your all-purpose cleaner, and just use Thieves. That's what they want. Let's see, Restore. Daily vitamins, they have those. Sorry, my mirror's in the way. I'm like, Ancient Grain Nutrition, Einkorn, gut enzyme, Restore gut enzymes, you know? I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist or a medical professional in any way, but like, can't you just like eat some fucking Activia? There are way cheaper alternatives to do all of these things without Young Living. Immune support, again, I mean, they throw their products around all over the place for immune support. This chart was made very intentionally, and she's gonna go through and be like, look at, you can replace this with our Young Living shit. It's like, okay, just in general, fine, like you can reduce these things, but you don't need Young Living to do it. They just want their reps to market it that way.
But let's talk about ancient grains. So can you imagine if we have this amazing product line that we've had for a long time, and it's really easy to forget about those products in our portfolio because Mark and his team, they're really busy working on innovation and these new products, and it's easy to chase those. But in between those moments, let's take time and focus on the products that we already have in our portfolio, like our ancient grains. Right?
You have all of those products in your portfolio
of launching and loving your products. And I've seen this several times in a huge way throughout my career, but many times in smaller ways where you've actually launched products in the marketplace before consumers are ready for them, or before there's consumer demand or consumer education on how important our products are. So Ancient Einkorn, what if we did a challenge, and what if we did proper education around the great benefits that just by removing white flour and replacing it with our ancient grains, how many people, if every one of us were rowing in the same direction internally, all of our social channels and our platforms are on fire talking about the same thing, how many people can we help have a better lifestyle with just one simple change, right? Another example, talk about gut enzymes. Okay, so should I make you raise your hand for this?
Who has to poop right now?
Overindulged over the holidays. But let's talk about how our bodies can thrive during these times and the benefit of gut enzymes. And again, if each one of us are doing the same storytelling, this is how we like products.
The benefit of gut enzymes, don't we all have gut enzymes? Like, she's talking about it like, oh my God, if you don't have gut enzymes in your life, you need to get gut enzymes. It's like, I'm pretty sure we all already have them.
So back in 2020 and 2021, as we know, we all took our health for granted, right? Like there was a hyper focus on, oh no, this is happening. And maybe I didn't have my body in the best place it could have been. And so weight, immunity, and mental well-being, they are still a priority. Even though it's 2023 and there is recovery, it's still going to be a priority.
Was weight a health priority for people in 2020? I don't think so. In 2020, I think we were all just concerned about not dying. It does not matter how much you weigh if you're dead from a virus that was just wiping people out.
Do you feel that we have all the products that support what the consumers are demanding? Please raise your hands.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? So let's go help people.
I
need to do a better job in telling you and educating you and showing how we can easily and quickly and concisely show the benefits of our products. And so while in July, you're going to see, we're going to ignite our business, we also are going to leverage those back to school opportunities to tell stories about resetting our kiddos are up at 10 o'clock until 10 o'clock and it's light outside. How can we help our customers reset their kiddos' routines and reset their immunity after they've been outside of the school systems for part of the summer? And then lastly, Mark, I think you and I can agree on this, but I think that Young Living has some of the best standards there are out there. And in my very humble opinion, I don't think we're being bold enough about how we're telling the stories.
Oh my God. One thing that I was thinking of here while I was listening to her is that she made the point that they need to focus on the immune support. I think she said in Q3 or whatever, which makes sense because that's when kids are going back to school. But she's just like, oh, they've been out of school for so long that you need to like reset their immune system or whatever the fuck she said. That's scary to me. If you're really going to use that as like a marketing tool, you need to make sure that the people who are selling this shit are educated on what you're talking about, because like all I hear is an opportunity for parents to like over supplement their kids, or like, I don't want to say overdose because it's like can you really overdose on an essential oil? I mean, I guess so to an extent, but I mean, you wouldn't be actually like overdosing by doing this, but you know, it could be dangerous. It just creates an opportunity for these people to be like, hey, I know that I was making you take 2 shots of Ningxia per day, but now you're going to take 4 because you're going back to school and we need to reset your immune system. It's like that. First of all, that's not a thing. I'm not a medical professional, but I don't think you can just like reset your immune system. It sounds to me like while they're out of school for the summer, like, wouldn't it be okay if you just continue the same routine? I mean, okay, to the extent that like you're using essential oils. I feel like there are going to be parents who are going to just start going ham with this, right? They're gonna just start like throwing essential oils all over their kids, making them take 20 supplements a day because you're going back to school and you need to reset your immune system. No, like, it's just a breeding ground for unsafe behavior, in my opinion. She moves on to the next topic here. She's like, I don't think we're being bold enough. Like, okay, I cannot wait to hear how she defines bold and how they need to be any bolder than they already are. They're out here all over social media making these health claims that are not true most of the time anyway. Like, it takes one bold motherfucker to do that. But no, that's not bold enough. So what else do you want people to do? And how else are they going to do that without going against FTC guidelines and FDA guidelines too?
And this is our vitality oils focus. And so I mentioned having the ability, being planned, but being flexible enough. And in March is where we're kind of flexing to a trend that we're seeing right now on social media. And has anyone seen like those beautiful ice cubes, and they're in fun shapes, and it's so fun to make an asset? And well, we're going to do that with our vitality oils.
No. Okay, wait. Oh. So if you don't know, the vitality oils are Young Living's line of oils that are labeled to be FDA compliant. A lot of Young Living distributors try to run off and say those oils are FDA approved. They are not. They are compliant. But it basically means that before the vitality line existed, the FDA told Young Living, because they were running around being like, you can eat this, you can put it on, you can do all these things. Like, is it, you know, something you use topically? What is this? Because you're telling people to eat it, but you're also not saying it's a food. So they told Young Living, if they're going to tell people that they can consume this product or that product, that they had to label it as such. So that's what they did in order to not get in trouble with the FDA. That is why they have an entire vitality line made of oils that are the exact same as their counterpart. They're just labeled differently. That's how I understand it anyway. So what she's saying is, oh my God, we are about to get like flooded and bombarded. March 2023. All we're going to see are stupid shaped ice cubes with essential oils in it. And guess what? It's not going to stop there. I guarantee it. So last year, I think it was in one of my top fails videos maybe, but there was a lady, I think she might have been a doTERRA rep, but this is going to happen with Young Living regardless. I'm calling it right now. She had one of those fun little ice cube trays and she made that suppositories, I guess, out of coconut oil and like regular essential oils, literally to shove up your hoo-ha. Very dangerous. Should not be doing that. Listen, guys, your lady bits, they're a self-cleaning machine, baby. Adding essential oils into your lady zone is not going to do good things. It's going to throw off pH balance. You're going to get infections, all these things. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it is not safe. I'm not a doctor, so take what I'm saying and research it for yourself, but I'm telling you right now, please do not put essential oils in your hoo-ha. But watch, just freaking watch. One of these people is gonna like get a little star-shaped ice cube tray and be like, you're a star and so is your vagina. And we also know that Gary Young, I don't remember where this even came out. Was it might have been in the court documents that I always refer back to from the doTERRA versus Young Living court transcripts, where we found out all this shit about seed to seal being a lie. I think it came from there, but there was an instance where Gary Young was doing oil enemas. I think the guy that was testifying was saying that he saw Gary Young break open a Bic pen because it was like a little tube, because he left whatever tool he was using at home and they were on vacation or something, but they had a Bic pen. So they broke it in half and stuck it up someone's butt in order to give them an enema, a Bic pen enema with oils, if you will. People are going to be sticking these up their butts. I guarantee it. Now you're going to see all over social media of people just like, no, it's just an ice cube with some drops of essential oil in it. Ooh. It is not going to stop there. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. People are going to be doing more than just putting these ice cubes in their drinks.
But we're hoping that you'll participate in bringing this to life by choosing your favorite combination of vitality oils. Can you imagine, like, they make the ice cubes in silicone molds. And can you imagine if it's a lemon slice and then you add your lemon vitality with a sprig of mint to it, and then you take that image and you share it with your team and encourage them to share? How many homes can we give vitality oils into, right? Okay. And then this oil of the month strategy. I feel very passionate about this, that we are all, I think if we can work together to choose an oil of the month that we want to highlight every month, at how much more energy that we can have in the field, accomplishing that mission that Ben was talking about. So
why are they just now coming up with this?
It's a little surprise. So who's been to beauty school?
Oh no.
Yes. It's everything you loved about beauty school, but just with a little refresh. But I just love how they did this to really drive home that it's across all categories. And don't worry, raindrop technique is still part of it. We are just hot off the presses with it. So I didn't have a chance to include it, but it will be included with the education. Just make sure you help us spread the information that beauty school is now Experience Young Living.
Damn. Did they always have this? I'm not really sure. I've never really heard much about this, if it is a thing. I do know that Young Living had their own makeup line called Savvy, actually. Ew. And they closed it down last year because the sales weren't great. So it's like, you're going to buckle down on the beauty thing after closing down your makeup line? Like, all right. Man, I never even got to try it. What a bummer. I really wanted to. Anyway, this sounds like an opportunity to be like Monet. So like, I think it was last year, Monet started doing like a university kind of thing, and all these distributors were going around being like, look, I graduated. I'm a graduate. It's like, no, you're fucking not. There's nothing accredited about any of that shit. Here's an opportunity for people to be like, look I graduated from Young Living's beauty program. It's like, you're saying that to sound impressive or to sound like you can go work at some spa or something, but this is not accredited education at all. This is not anything that should get you a job anywhere. Not that they would want one, because they're very anti 9 to 5. But still, I'm gonna have to look into this more. If you guys have more information about this Experience Young Living or whatever the hell, let me know in a comment down below, because I would be interested to learn more about it. I can Google it and stuff, but I'm not gonna do that right now. It'd just be interesting. But I feel like if they're going to be pushing this, we're going to have an influx of distributors being like, look, I'm educated now. No, you're not. You're just more indoctrinated than you were before.
I really wanted to do such a good job for you. I know so many of you have traveled. And as I was rehearsing last night, my husband, he didn't have much of a choice but to listen to me. But I said, I had this whole plan. I was going to say, in conclusion, and I made this pretty bold statement. And he's like, wow, that's bold. Are you up for the task? So my word for 2023 is no excuses.
That's 2 words.
And I know it's 2 words technically,
okay.
But I was trying to make it positive because I always like my words positive, but that's really Nike's just do it. So no excuses for Monica Catalano. And I'm going to fail, and that's okay. But my intention behind it is I want to come to work every day with you in mind and make no excuses for the work that's being done here.
Okay, so that sounds like take accountability, right? So, hey, Young Living, is 2023 the year where you're going to actually take accountability? I think they're going to disguise it as the year that they take accountability, and they're going to like half-ass it, but we'll see. Again, like I said in the last video, because they said that they're coming out, finally, they're going to come out with the, GCMS testing reports or whatever. They said that they were going to start providing those, but they didn't give a date or anything like that. They've also been saying for years, like I've been told by Young Living distributors that they have been told that within the next 5 years, they're going to have those results. And it's like, why is it taking so long? How come every other essential oil company can provide that stuff, but Young Living can't? And they need 5 years to figure out how to do it. If 2023 is the year that they figure that out, that is step one to being transparent and then also holding themselves accountable for the years of bullshit that they've put people through. That even needs to be taken with a grain of salt. I've talked with a few creators and we have this plan to kind of crowdfund this, because if you don't know, it is super expensive to send things to a lab to get tested. And also we do have some Young Living distributors who are willing to at least give us their discount so we don't have to purchase the oils at full price. But what we're going to have to do, and as much as it fucking sucks to be like we have to give money to Young Living, what we're going to have to do is once they come out with these testing reports, we need to be able to confirm that they weren't adulterated or altered or whatever, faked if you will. We have to make sure that what they're saying is true. It is unfortunately a necessary step to making sure that Young Living is being held accountable. I mean, we can also, depending on where those testing results come from, if they are certified by a third-party lab, you know, we can reach out to that lab and talk to those people to get that sort of accountability sorted out. But unfortunately, what has to be done is we can't just take donations from people who are like, oh, I have this old essential oil that I haven't opened, you can send, because what's going to happen is that we're going to be accused of tampering, I guess. So what we have to do is get brand new oils shipped from Young Living to whatever lab we end up picking. So unfortunately, that means that there does have to be a money exchange, but it's for the greater good. But again, from my tea time paparazzi days, what I remember is I think it was like, I want to say Tea Time sent out 10 pieces and it was over $1,000 to get all that tested. I think there are even some pieces where it's like $300 or something like that. Like, it is a lot of money to get these things tested, so that's why it's gonna have to be a crowd-funded thing. However, this will only happen if Young Living actually comes out with the testing results. So that's what's gonna be in the future. There's already a bunch of creators kind of on board to kind of help fund this thing to try to hold Young Living accountable and give them an opportunity to say, we're not making any excuses. That's where that all just comes back to. I know that was like a long ramble, but yeah, that's gonna be the plan. If she wants the opportunity to be able to say, I made no excuses for Young Living this year, then that's where we're gonna start.
So I get to introduce Dr. Mark Bartlett, Executive Vice President
Oh,
of
it's
Science
Mark
and Product
Bartlett
Development.
again. Where's my fart sound?
Thank you so much. Well, you know, I feel a little egotistical because everyone showed pictures of their beautiful families, and I've just got like me there. And I don't think I even shaved
Sorry,
for that
okay,
picture,
I'll
so
stop.
I'm going to move on straight away.
Mark Bartlett, I'll stop.
And some, you know, I'm really not completely inculcated into the culture yet. So I'm kind of
You mean
mainstream
just the
science.
cult?
Like, I have 8 children, and I don't think that any of them have actually ever eaten bread bought from the store. Or if they do, I'm very disappointed. But I stone ground my own wheat, and before I could afford electricity, I did it by hand and made all my own bread from wheat that I bought from the farmers. And, you know, I just feel like it's that much better. And so people have always thought I'm weird, but I don't think you think I'm weird, right? From the farm, then went to the big city, and I was the first in my family to decide to sort of go beyond high school and go to school. So I went to the Australian National University and got a degree in chemistry. Really especially loved sort of plant chemistry and what the plants were doing sort of automatically that we were kind of mimicking. I thought that was fascinating. Then chose to, I didn't really know what to do with that. So I chose to do some more study, and I did a master's degree.
So he went to school and was like, I didn't know what to do with my degree, so I guess I just kept going to school. You couldn't figure that out before you went and got the degree?
It was kind of, again, driven by my love of plants, looking into plant carbohydrate chemistry. How do plants take the light from the sun and, you know, water from the soil, and how do they create all of those molecules? Because that's basically what they do. And to get into technical detail, they have a 5-carbon sugar phosphate receptor that actually takes CO2 from the air and then build a 6-carbon sugar and then break it down into 3 and then break it back up into 6 and do all sorts of amazing things. And before you know it, the plants have got essential oils and all sorts of things in them. So that was my passion then, and discovered a new enzyme in plants and, you know, a new sort of path of carbon and photosynthesis. It was just fun. I finished doing that and did some cancer research for a while as a research assistant. And in that work, actually was really fascinated by blood platelets. So it was kind of hematology work. I decided, well, I kind of like this, and, you know, it doesn't pay too well. So, you know, maybe they'll pay me the big bucks if I do a PhD. So I did a PhD in immunology, and I was super interested again in cancer metastasis.
So he was just in it for the money then?
And how you might stop that. And I was trying to use natural products, not drugs. So just sort of natural sugar molecules. And we had amazing results. And then that took me to the National Cancer Institute in Washington, D.C., or Maryland, I suppose, if you want to be specific. So I worked in experimental immunology there, kind of doing the same thing. How do cells talk to each other, and how can you take advantage of how they talk to each other to prevent cancer and inflammation, autoimmune disease? After a while, I sort of came to this conclusion, and I think the whole slide deck's not here, so I'll just paraphrase my own words. And it was, plants make these compounds that are the inspiration for the drugs. So the chemists take the plant compound, they go, well, that kind of works. Let's just make it more potent, more toxic. And, there's room for that.
What he's making it sound like, and again, I'm not an expert in any of this, but what he's making it sound like is every drug is just inspired by a plant. And if you just use that plant instead of the drug, it will have the same life-changing, life-saving effects as the drug. And it's just less toxic. Like, no, I don't want to jump the gun and be like, no, he's wrong, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, that doesn't sound right. And if I'm wrong, then someone will tell me in the comments very aggressively and angrily. But I'm sorry, I just don't think that that's how it works. He's like, if you make it more potent, it's more toxic. And it's like, if I drink 1 drop of bleach, it probably will taste really bad, but I'm sure I won't die from it. If I drink an entire gallon of bleach, then yeah, I'm gonna die from it. It's not gonna go well for me. Like, obviously, I get that that's kind of what he's trying to say here. Is it? Stop talking, Savannah. You don't know what you're talking about. You're right, I don't. But what I'm saying here is, like, he's kind of fear-mongering Big Pharma right now. Meanwhile, he has sounds to me like a pretty decent education in some aspects of healthcare. He was talking about doing some cancer research and stuff, but it's like, I just don't understand how you can come to this conclusion after going through all that schooling. And I know he said he had a degree in chemistry also, but it's like, I guess that's not the same as like healthcare. I guess it's just kind of one part of it. But should we really be like platforming this guy like a freaking expert of all this stuff? Because it sounds to me like if he was as educated and this was his expertise, then he wouldn't be fear-mongering pharmaceuticals so much. It's just so frustrating, dude. I'm like, we heard this with, I think a few videos ago, there was a Kangen water lady who was basically saying that her Kangen water was gonna cure people's cancer. Obviously, it's not going to. It was more like it'll prevent you from getting cancer. Because you're gonna be so healthy, and your body's just gonna be working if you drink my fucking water. This sounds like it's sort of the same thing. The same narrative. I don't know. I'd have to look more into this guy, and I think we should. Someone should if it's not me. I'm getting weird woo-woo vibes though, and I'm not liking it.
But I figured, you know what? If the plants have made those compounds, if you eat them every day or partake of them every day and stay healthy, isn't that so much better than waiting until you're sick and then having to use the modified compounds, right?
It would be, sure. Yeah, I think that's generally how health works. Healthy habits, right? But the problem here is that they're equating that to essential oils. If you just take several drops of our essential oils every day, little amounts of it will make it so that you don't get all these health issues down the road. And it's like, that is not true. That's literally not proven. He's kind of like posing it like a question, right? He's kind of like, so if plants can do this, we should be able to do it too. It's like, but we're not plants though. And we do not work the same way. Like, tell me the last time you performed photosynthesis on yourself. Like, it just like we're not the same. While I think that maybe that is an avenue that should be explored in healthcare, and I'm sure has been explored in healthcare, I don't think that there's like scientific research to suggest that if plants benefit from this and that, then we would benefit the same way. No. Like, in general, no.
So that was my epiphany, and I left the NIH. I said, I want to work in an area where we can rediscover what plants do for us and reignite, I guess, our passion for that healthy lifestyle.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. So what I'm hearing here earlier, he was like, they didn't want to pay me the big bucks for this work, so I went and got a PhD. Like, it sounds to me like he was kind of just in all this for money in the first place, and this is just my opinion, okay? Sir, don't come at me and be like, she said, blah, blah. Like, no, shut up. This is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Sounds to me like he went through all the schooling and the things that he went through because he wasn't making enough money, and then he got into the NIH. The place I know that acronym from is from, like, there's like a database of scientific studies and stuff, and I know it has NIH on there. I don't know what it stands for, but I know it's something important. And he's like, I left them basically because he wanted to like do his own research and come to his own conclusions and do science his way. He wasn't wanting to conform to their very high scientific standards. And he's like, I'd rather just like find a way to profit off of all these people who don't like big pharma. Which, fine, that's a big market. There's plenty of people out there who will throw their money at you if you just say big pharma bad. There you go, bud. That's what I'm hearing anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.
I left the NIH. Now, here's my old professor, and I worked with him on some anti-cancer drugs at the Australian National University for years. And then I went to NIH, and then I left NIH and said, Mom, I'm going to come and join this company that and focus on phytochemicals.
National Institutes of Health is what NIH stands for, by the way. Oh, okay, so it's an American thing. I think he was saying he was working in like Washington, D.C. or Maryland or something. It's the nation's medical research agency, supporting scientific studies that turn discovery into health. Yep, that's pretty much what it should do. They have a registry of scientific studies and stuff, and that's where you can read a lot of these things. I don't think anyone can just submit a study there and then they publish it. Like, I think it's its own whole thing. And this guy's like, I don't like their science.
And my mother, a few years later found this in the, it was published like, oh my gosh, this drug that you're working on could be available in 4 years. And she said, and then she wrote this on the top.
Son, why did you leave the NIH when, look, this person here, you could have been on this newspaper. Kudos to Mom, seriously. He was working on this drug that has scientific evidence to say that it could help people with cancer, and he's just like, I don't like this. I think we can cure cancer with plants.
Mark, you have missed the mark, right?
Yeah, you have missed the mark.
Like, Andrew, this just fuels my passion. It just fills my cup, right?
Oh my God.
So I did spend the next 27 years then working for something that I really believed in, right? And it was really, how do we age healthily? So I got this call from Prasad, and Prasad said, hey, come to lunch with me. And I'm like, I know what this is about. And I said to my wife, what do I say? She said, well, you need to be polite. Why? Well, because he was calling from Young Living, and my wife had actually worked for Young Living 20 years ago in the old school building down there in Payson. And I remembered from that she always came home really happy and smelling funny. Right.
Funny?
But truly, she shared experiences at Young Living that she really loved. And Young Living didn't know this at the time, and my old company didn't know this at the time. But she was kind of a research assistant for Mark Schroeder and their Gary, right? And she had all sorts of crazy assignments. And one of them was, we're trying to find the perfect grain. And this was kind of the genesis of when they went to einkorn, right? And the thing that I got for my pro bono work was pretty much many years supply of this red juice that Young Living was making called Ningxia Red, which again, I was drinking every day and have been for a long time. And Bill Poppin, a great guy, used to sneak that to our house like every month or so. He'd give me my Ningxia Red. So I love that stuff. Still drink it, have been for 20 years.
Ugh. First of all, I didn't know Ningxia Red was around for 20 years. And second of all, I have a video about Ningxia Red, whole deep dive on it. And then at the end, I actually try it because one of you guys sent me product samples of it. And guys, it is not that great. For him to be like, I love it so much, I drink it. It's like, it's really not that good. I feel like in a lot of, I guess, marketing or social media posts about it, like sometimes it like looks kind of good the way they present it. And I mean, you would expect it to just kind of taste like a fruit juice, like a nice tart, kind of sweet, No, it tastes different. Like, and it's probably, I think it's because they put vanilla essential oil in it. So like, imagine like you're drinking like a fruit juice cocktail or something and it's also vanilla-y. It was weird. It was super weird. So just to hear people be like, oh, I loved Ningxia Red from the moment I tried it. It's like, really? It's really not that good. Like, it's not disgusting, but it's just kind of one of those flavors that's just like, this doesn't seem right.
And he said, come to lunch with me. I said, okay. The worst that could happen is I get a free lunch. And he brought Ben with him. And
someone in the chat is like, really happy and smelling funny? Us.
We're also happy and funny smelling.
I don't know if you should be bragging about that, but all right.
So I've been here 4 months now, and I have, during that time, really, it's been about meeting the people that work here. And I really didn't know what to expect. Like, am I going to have to build up the science from the ground up or what?
Am I going to have to make up stuff from the ground
up? Of amazing people. I mean, the team here, incredible. So, here's HK, who has published 80 papers. I mean, I don't know, 80 just doesn't seem like a big number if you're talking dollars, but
you're always talking dollars, aren't you, sir?
This is a team that has a depth of experience. And so, this is the 4 of the PhDs. There's also one in Okinawa, right? Dr. Wu, just incredible people to know. In general, what are they doing? Well, what they are doing is amazing chemistry. Like, these are very well qualified chemists that just know everything about essential oils. I've learned so much since I've been here.
You know what's wild to me is this fucking Bartlett man. I have a PhD. I went to school for this. I worked for the NIH. I did all these things. Hi, Pippi. But I joined Young Living and I learned so much. It's like probably because everything you did learn like at school, you know, like accredited school, was probably legit. And then you showed up to Young Living and they're like, look at all this quack science we have. And he's like, that's new information. Sure, it's new to you, but it's also wrong.
And yeah, if the essential oils are for perfumes, I'm down with that. That's awesome. Even if you eat some sometimes, that's okay. We can eat flowers. So it's easy, right? I can do that. I can make those kinds of products. Okay, we make supplements and we do all these other things and we just use this oils for perfumes. I'm thinking, I need to go a little deeper than that, don't I? Because he said, when we're trying to re-educate our thinking process and go in a different direction than the customary herbal formulas, vitamin formulas, and mineral formulas, it takes time for us to make the psychological connection to something that is brand new. We have not had a previous emotional, psychological, or social attachment or connection to, as we have not had with oils in this form of fashion. These are transcribed from audio, so they're not perfect, right? But you get the gist there. I'm hearing Gary telling me, you got to make some changes here, Bartlett. You've got to sort of adapt to a new way of thinking.
Someone in the chat's like, since you're recording this and so far there doesn't seem to be anything non-compliant or confidential, I would seriously love to have this video. It's weird that they set this expectation that they're like expecting something to be non-compliant and they're like looking out for it. Yeah, so far I would say, I guess none of this is really non-compliant. It is a little sketchy. Just the fact that this guy's just like, I gave up real science for essential oil bullshit. I just get really bad vibes from this dude.
Another thing that he said, again, it's not on the slide deck there, but you know, remember back when I left NIH and why I left them? Because I was saying the plants had what was there, and then man is sort of creating drugs from them, and why not just sort of stick with the plants and stay healthy? Well, Gary said the way to a life that is full of vitality and strength lies in what God has created.
No,
I would say
God.
the plants, and not in what man has altered.
Please, sir, explain to me the fact that Gary said that. Why does that make it true? I'm sorry, but Gary has been wrong about a lot of things in his life to the point where it has killed people, even his own child. Why are we taking anything that Gary says to be factual? Listen, Mr. Bartlett, I have an issue with you having a PhD and all of this experience and even having worked for the NIH and been like, but Gary said this. It's like, what? Sir? Your professor is working on cancer drugs and you're over here like trying to find a way to make plants cure cancer, and it's just not gonna happen. Stop trying to make essential oils happen. It's not going to happen. I have a huge issue with this dude, and I'm an idiot, all right? But I can guarantee that there are going to be people in this comment section, scroll down if you don't believe me, there are going to be people who have medical backgrounds or, you know, scientific backgrounds, and they're going to listen to this guy and be like, holy shit, this guy is dangerous. There are going to be people fucking raging in the comments. I guarantee it. People who know what they're talking about when it comes to actual science and shit. To listen to this dude be like, well, Gary said that God made all of the medicine we need and that like men making pharmaceuticals is unnecessary. It's like, but meanwhile, these drugs are helping so many people. I'm sorry, but I cannot eat a plant to make my anxiety go away. Can't do it. The store-bought serotonin that I take every day works great. I'm not eating a fucking plant. I'm taking a pill. But guess what? Those pills saved my life. But what you're suggesting to me, sir, is that I should just be eating a plant for my anxiety instead. No. Hell the fuck no. I
read that and I said, wait a minute, I said that.
What a piece of shit.
And then I'm looking up dates like, did I say that before he said that? Because
okay, if you said something at one point and then Gary Young reiterated it, or even the other way around, if Gary Young said something first and then you believed it, like that is a self-report. You are comparing yourself to a monster who is Gary Young, and you're okay with it. You're like, oh, I would love to be on the same level of cognitive dissonance that Gary Young was. Yeah, Gary said the same thing I said. It's like we're two peas in a pod. No, I mean, yeah, clearly you guys were meant for each other. However, any other medical professional, if they were compared to Gary Young and anything he did, would probably take that as an insult. But this guy's like, yeah, me and Gary Bear.
that really helped me to think and sort of reevaluate. And so I started to think, what do aromas do? Where's the science of that? How can we, earlier Ben said, if you can't
Fucking quote Helen Keller, yeah, because she's missing 2 of the 5 senses, but so clearly that makes her an expert on one of the senses she does still have. Plus also, I don't remember when she was alive, but it was a long time ago, right? So it's like, I mean, there's always been science, but there wasn't like modern medicine back then. So anything that Helen Keller has to say about this shit is pretty irrelevant. It shouldn't even be here. But this guy's like, you guys all know the name Helen Keller, right? You guys know who she is, right? That means that she's an expert in something. I'm going to quote her. No, it doesn't.
With science, if you can't measure it, there is no science. So I need a way to measure this in my own head. That's just how we think. And we need to sort of do this together a little bit rather than be thought of as you're kind of out there on the fringes. You're like tree hugging hippies and we don't understand you. If we are going to share with 2 and get 2, then sometimes we have to be able to speak their language, which is the language that they're learning every day. And you guys have advanced way beyond that, but we need to sort of find a point of connection.
You guys are so much smarter than the scientists out there. You guys are so much smarter than those professors that wrote all those textbooks. You're so much smarter than them. So we have to dumb our language down to meet them at their level. That's what I just heard. Sir, people who listen to people like this are like, well, he's using terms that my stupid dumb brain understands, so he must be correct. Okay, this has nothing to do with anything, but I started listening to, not to bring religion into this, but it's just a really good example, I think. I started listening to, it's like is it a podcast? I don't know what you call it, like a YouTube show, live stream called The Atheist Experience, and I was listening to one literally today that really, it made me stop and laugh out loud to the point where Sparrow was like, what's so funny? And I'm like, I can't even explain it to you. It's so stupid. Basically on this show, if you've never watched it, the panelists or the hosts, I guess, are 2 atheists or agnostic atheists or whatever, and they take callers who are theists, believers, whatever you want to call it. They're Christians, they believe in God, or, and they kind of like have banter back and forth, not like angrily arguing with each other. Sometimes it gets to that point. But what I've noticed is that the Christian callers who call in to try to kind of get their gotcha moment on the atheists, like checkmate atheists, they always approach the subject of, is God real, with the most basic understanding of things. You hear people coming in and being like, well, evolution means that you're trying to say that we evolved from animals. It's like, we are animals. Fucking morons. Like, oh my God. I don't want to like say that those people are stupid. They're just completely ill-informed. They are basing their understanding on like very basic surface level things, and then they just leave it there. They don't dig a little deeper to try to understand those things. They're just like, well, that makes sense to me in my dumb brain. So this is the same thing that I'm hearing. I'm hearing that this guy is like, I need to dumb my language down and not go any deeper than the surface level so that it is something that the people listening to me can be like, I know some of those words.
I know some of these words.
I know what that means. And then they apply it to things, but it's like, but you lack a basic fundamental understanding of what it is he's talking about. And listen, so do I. I don't know shit about plants and science and all that stuff, but I know enough to know that the shit he's saying and the things that these people are taking from here and then regurgitating onto the internet is just dangerous pseudoscience.
So I look at this from Helen Keller, who could not see or hear, right? Smell is a potent wizard that transports you across thousands of miles and all the years you have lived.
That makes her an expert, right?
To me, it does. If I sit quietly and I think 10,000 miles away in Australia, I would get up in the morning, I'd hear the kookaburras. I would smell the eucalyptus. I would smell the lanolin from the wool that are the sheep that are wandering around. Those aromas just take me straight back to my youth in Australia. There's a reason for all that, right? And it goes beyond maybe just the science of the early science of the carrot. So what's going on? Well, you guys know all this. I'm learning this from you.
You know what his reasoning for showing all these pictures are and all these big words and stuff is so that the people watching this will be like, wow, I'm really learning something here. And this is the real deal. These are a bunch of words I don't understand. Must be scientifically sound. Because look, there's a picture of an anatomical brain. Yeah, okay, now I'm learning things. It's like, you're not though. He's prepping you to make it feel like you really learned a lot of stuff here. But in reality, like, this is all stuff that a layman wouldn't understand. And it probably, honestly, honestly doesn't have ties back to what it is we're talking about. He's just putting it out here to be like, no, there's science behind this. Look, here's a picture of a brain. See, look, it's science. See, do you know what a hypothalamus is? No, but now I do. It's part of the brain, and now I'm an expert on why essential oils work. And it's like, no, you're not though.
I realized that young living is about a full life. And so it means healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit. Maybe the big blue circle is healthy planet. But, you know, when you think about your life's experiences, if we have our health, that's a huge blessing. And if we got to do the best that we can to keep our health and stay healthy and keep the health of the ones that we love, that's just...
Someone in the chat's like, wow, now I know why everyone was so excited for Mark. Phenomenal. It's like, what about all of this made you realize it? Is it because he mentioned how great Gary Young is and then compared himself to Gary Young? And you're like, wow, it's like he's Gary Young reincarnated. Wow, this guy is the spirit of Gary Young. It's phenomenal. It's like, what is he saying that could actually be defined as phenomenal? Because I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing a bunch of quacking and farting.
Why am I here? What am I going to do? You know, what's the future here? Again, I think it's really about galvanizing our team. Our team has done an incredible job in R&D, for example, of validating the essential oils, of assuring you and giving you confidence that there's purity in the oils, that we understand the chemistry, and they've done that amazingly well. You know, you go to the Facebook posts of Chris Baubank, and that's kind of representative of the amazing things that they were doing. And I'm saying to myself, that's kind of the easy part. You know, the harder part might be the biology, because that's when the lawyers start saying, I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can say this, right? So
do you know why they say that? Because the things you're saying can harm people, because the things you're saying are not scientifically backed. If a lawyer needs to tell a doctor that they can't legally say those things and they start saying you're getting into some muddy waters there, buddy, you better back up. It is just astounding to me that someone with so much education is this. I don't even know the word for it, but we do know that he started out this whole conversation being like, I wasn't making the big bucks then, so that's why I continued my education, and then like I wasn't making all this money, so I kept doing. It's like, okay, it sounds like you're a grifter and you're grifting for money at this point. You'll say anything that Mary Young wants you to say because it's going to make you a lot of money.
Here's Gary. Gary, he kind of reminds me of the Beatles or something, because, you know, his life was so active and so busy that he wasn't even able to sort of do all the things that he wanted to do.
He reminds me of a beetle because he's a pest.
So he has these archives, right, of oils and things that you've never seen, and sort of some methods that he was working on, and some innovations that he wanted to see happen, but sort of never really did it. You know, there aren't very many Garys left in the world, and certainly at Young Living, we really miss him.
But he's one of them, right?
But we do have a team of people that are trying to perpetuate his mission. So as an example, one thing in terms of innovation, we've done amazing things, but other companies are catching up, or they think they do, right? They've got many of the same oils, they copy.
Yeah, you guys do have a lot of the same oils. You know why? Because you import them from the same place. We have literal proof of that, but anyway.
Names, and we're also in the status quo of this is how you make an oil. You know, it's a steam distillation, or it's a, what do you call it, a hydro distillation. You know, there's some basic methods that people use. Are there any other frontiers in the way that we bring out these beautiful oils from the plants? Gary thought they were, and he was working on some things. And for about a decade, we've been working on some of those things too.
You squeeze it really hard.
Tell you exactly what that means, but let's talk about let's just call it a new generation of a way to extract these oils from the plants and get more from them. Let me talk about this a little bit more. You know, so I've become fascinated in this. My daughter is a neuroscientist. She's studying medicine now, but she was a neuroscience major, and she's worked in that area. My son, who was about 10 at the time, says, Dad, how many senses are there again? And I said, there are 5, son. Trust me, I'm a scientist. And my daughter said, well, actually, there are 22 or 23 that we know of. I'm like, what? And they said, yeah. Like, what do you mean? Well, you know, sure, you have all the ones that we know of, but what about proprioception? Like, try this. Close your eyes and bring your nose as close to your nose as possible, but don't touch it. And then open your eyes. It's right there, isn't it? So your body knows the positioning. That's one of the senses.
I mean, couldn't you say that like the 5 senses, it's almost like the primary senses, right? And then there's like trees that branch off into like secondary senses and stuff. To be like the 5 senses thing, total myth. I don't know that I would say that, dude. You're just making things more complicated. And I swear to God, if I hear any Young Living person, whether it's a distributor or somebody in the corporate world here or someone on a Zoom, I don't care who it is. If I hear someone saying, actually, we don't have just 5 senses, like, shut up. You're just confusing people now.
But so we think we know things, but we don't, I suppose. We have to keep learning. So I'm really interested in this. And I'm interested in doing a more systematic and a rigorous study of the olfactory senses and their response to essential oils. I want us to be able to speak that language when, or at least publish papers that you can share with your friends that show, hey, we're doing a little bit more than the other guys are. We understand how they work. You know, it's not just woo-woo, it's real science. So we know that there's a phylogenetic tree of olfactory sensors and receptors. There's 5 groups that total a number of 389 receptors in that olfactory bulb. This is what those receptors look like. This is the heat map for lavender. So we know like which ones are most strongly. It looks like OR4A47 and 5211 and so on. These are the ones that are most strongly lit up. This
That
gives us
all
a
means
pattern now,
nothing
something
to
that we can
anyone
measure. And when we can
outside
do
of
that,
whoever
then we
made
can
this
start actually to
graphic.
link that to behavior, or what the studies say lavender does. Now, when we know this, we can actually, think about it. I think Mary wants to do an oil, a new oil. She says compassion. I've been thinking a lot about compassion lately. Which receptors do we know that are lit up when someone is acting that way, when someone has compassion? And then let's go through the oils. Let's experiment. Let's see which ones are the most obvious. Now, some people can do this. I'm just amazed at how Gary, Mary, other experts are able to do this because they have this innate sense, this ability to.
Somehow Gary knew this intuitively. I'm sorry, what? No, these people, the way that they praise him is just like they look at him as some fucking essential oil god. And he was just some whack job, dude. He was a murderer. He was not a doctor. But these people are like, Gary, he just had it in his spirit to know that lavender oil would do this to the senses. No, he didn't. He made everything up. He made shit up.
I think that's just amazing. But, I am very well aware of my limitations, I guess, and the limitations of the team. So the science is not only good for helping to confirm what we've already done, but also to go in new directions, and also, again, to help you share with your friends the amazing things that we can do at Young Living.
Gary is not duplicatable. Stop it. If there's ever been proof that Young Living is a cult, all you have to do is just read this chat, dude.
Thank you so much for being so warm and welcoming. I'm so happy to be here, and bless the future.
Bless
Now I'll hand the mic
future.
over to Ben.
I want to also mention, Lindy mentioned the farm tours. We're going to expand that to include retreats. There's some more work to do, but we're going to enable you to book farms and accommodations through this same site. And the reason we're doing that is because I want you to plan your team retreats at our farms.
I'm glad that he's bringing this up. In the last video, I mentioned that I wanted to look into it. I'm like, because they were saying we want our farms to be open to everybody. We want the media to be able to come in, blah, blah, blah. Okay. After I made that video, I went and I looked into it. I went to the website. I went and was clicking on dates, trying to see what they needed to book it. You need to have a brand partner ID or a member ID or whatever they call it. Yeah, you cannot book a viewing of one of their farms without a brand partner ID, which is contrary to what they were saying here. They're like, we want it to be open to everybody, but it's like, everybody who doesn't know somebody in Young Living who can book it for them, no. And listen, I'm sure plenty of people would be able to make that booking for me who are watching here. We have sources, we have people in our inner circles that are still with Young Living that could provide that kind of stuff, but it's a matter of principle, I think. I don't want to sneak my way in there. Like, if they're going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, anyone can come in, you just gotta book it online, then that's what I want to do. But I want them to not run around and say that you can do that, and then when I go to try to do it, I can't because I don't have a brand partner ID. All right, well, I think that's a pretty good place to end this video here. This video was almost 2 hours long. Obviously, it took me 2 parts to film and edit. So just to give you an idea, 2 hours is what the last 2 videos were. I have a part 2 to this platinum only that is 3 hours and 15 minutes long, and then I have the regular New Year's kickoff that they gave to everyone else, the rest of their peasants that aren't platinum and above, and that is almost 2.5 hours long. There's so much content here. I mentioned at the beginning that Clowntown did a little quick wrap up of the New Year's kickoff in its entirety, and I'll link it down below if you want to go watch it, if you want some sneak peeks of what else we're gonna see. We didn't even get into some of the really bad stuff that I saw them talking about. There's still so much more in here that we have to cover, so much more insanity, more racism. Yeah. We haven't even touched on all the racism. There wasn't much racism here in this part, but in the first part there was. Again, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, please. You're gonna be glad you did. I guess with all that, we will end this here. But yeah, I gotta keep making these videos, dude. This New Year's kickoff, unbelievable. Now, real quick before we end here, I need to thank my patrons and my members, you guys. The people I'm about to name off here are my financial supporters. They get access to things like our private Discord server. We have a postcard club, early access to videos. They'll definitely get early access to this video, and sometimes more than that. So if any of that sounds good to you, you can go to patreon.com/SavannahMarie, or you can click the join button beneath this video to join my YouTube memberships. They're both the same, get you the same stuff, just whatever platform works better for you. And with that, the biggest thank you in the whole wide world goes to Hula Chowdown, Janelle Pratt, Amanda Shannon, Christy Taylor, Elizabeth Wyatt, Nitty Dragon, Leanne, Meredith Nakata, Ryamu, Sheila Tapia, Willow Raymond, Alice W., Boris Geller, Caroline Reed, Daniel Urena, Heidi Haw, Jacqueline Nutton, Kim Cartwright, Maddie Darley, Marley Fletcher, Ray, Tuesday the 13th, Turd Ferguson, Martine Hubert, Fallon Lowry, Hannah, Little Birdie, Miss Blue, Mira S.I.K., Blazed Goddess, Carrie K., Vegan Chicky Nuggy, Love to Be Evil, Natalie Scott, Colin F., The Best Elephant, Jessica Billhart, Laura Jensen, Mitchie84, Jess Kronfeld, Emion, and Auntie Lou, and to the rest of my financial supporters, thank you so much for being here and for being you. And even if you're not a financial supporter, thanks for making it to the end of this video, because YouTube loves watch time, and when you watch a video all the way through, YouTube's like, wow, that must have been a good video. I'm going to show more people. So thank you for just being here in general. Keep making waves, babes, and I'll smell you guys later. Mommy Tsunami out.